going to assume that you don't know much about origami for this tutorial. If you've done origami before, you can skip a little bit ahead in this video. At home, you might not have origami paper. It's unlikely that you do. So take any construction paper or even white paper will work and create a fold diagonally. When you do this, you are doing the beginning steps towards making a square piece of paper. The origami that we do will be based on a square. This is our very first video, and so we need to know some basics. Do you see how we've created a square? And then that rectangular part that's left over, we're going to just cut that part off. We don't want that for the origami that we're going to do. Origami paper traditionally is square. You might wonder what we're going to make today. We're going to do some basic folding techniques to do a butterfly since that's a spring item. Open up that diagonal fold. That was actually the first fold that you need, and then fold again. Don't turn it upside down or anything. Both of those folds need to be what we call in origami a valley fold. You'll see they're going crisscross. Then turn that whole paper upside down so now that you have mountain folds. Mountain folds are when they peak up and valley folds are when they peak down. Then we're creating just a folding in half the paper, but this time in a rectangular way, not diagonally. You're going to do that twice to create a plus sign in the middle of the paper. In origami, it's important to know that whatever you do, you usually do it twice, one to each side. It's a very symmetrical art form. When you finish folding those rectangles, your paper will have two mountain folds going across the entire paper in a crisscross shape. Turn the paper over. Then you'll notice that the paper will flip out like this and you'll have a nice point. The mountains are now the diagonal lines. Do you see that? Now visualize there's 4 triangles, and what you're going to do is you want to kind of push that together. It's kind of a squash fold where you push all those together to get kind of one triangle showing. It's one giant triangle. I like to hold on the front of the paper as I'm folding. And then make sure you always recrease it. And then we're going to turn this upside down. And when I filmed this, I was actually at the point, so I don't know why my video is turned. But anyway, you're going to fold this from this point down. And this piece of paper, I want you to imagine that this flap is hanging off kind of in the middle lower section. And whatever you do to the right, you again do to the left. Okay? You're going to push that down really tightly and get that nice into place. It's starting to look like a butterfly, isn't it? Now the center portion there is too big for a butterfly. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly curve that paper back. Especially if it's stiff paper like this, you're going to kind of ease that into the curve. It's kind of a nice paper technique. And then you can push it down and you have this little triangle at the top. That triangle is kind of cute, but it's actually going to end up getting folded over to help secure everything into place. Again, because this is construction paper, it was a little bit difficult, but you can see where that is going. That little triangle gets folded over really tightly, and then what you're going to do is start to think of this butterfly as essentially done, but what you're going to want to do is basically fold it in half to create a middle bilateral symmetry we've got going here. And then when you open that up, you'll see that you can actually create a reverse fold right here and a little reverse fold towards the inside, pushing those wings back and creating that center section where you actually have the body of the butterfly. The body's not there, but it's sort of implied. Implied line is a type of thing we think about in art. Now, again, this is essentially done and we have our butterfly shape, but we can mold the wings with your entire hand, and voila, you're done. Origami is an art form that comes from Japan, and I made one earlier with a darker purple and one with origami paper. Feel free to watch this as many times as you need.